A few words, a few comments about current affairs. First of all, it's difficult to speak about current affairs because things change every half hour or so. The news cycle seems to be becoming briefer and briefer by the week. One thing we can definitely say about our supposed friend Donald Trump is that it is Trump who prevented us from completely and comprehensively defeating Iran. It is the same Trump who prevented us from continuing and achieving victory in Gaza. And it's the same Trump who did the same in Lebanon. It's true that it was Biden who originally said don't, which people understood to be directed at Iran or Hezbollah, what have you, but in fact was at least as much directed at us. But the person who actually followed through and made these things happen was not Biden but Trump. And anyone who claims, so it seems to me, that Netanyahu knows exactly what he's doing and that he is taking all these things in stride and that things will just be fine, well, let me just say that I don't believe such a person. If anyone were to say that to me, I would tell them, I don't think you know what you're talking about, and I don't think Netanyahu knows what he's talking about. And I'm not at all certain that anyone can predict what will happen in a year from now, not even perhaps tomorrow, but certainly not in a year from now. As we've said before, Hashem is definitely stirring the pot. The world is in a state of flux, and we cannot be sanguine about anything at all. We have to be concerned and understand that our situation, as we understand from everything that the Torah teaches us, our situation, both as a nation and as individuals, but first and foremost as a nation, depends on our behavior, what we do and what we do not do, and one cannot possibly disconnect those two things. This is what we say every day when we recite Kriyat Shema. After all, let me just remind everyone, although I'm sure most of you will know exactly what you say in Kriyat Shema, but nevertheless, perhaps there are those who are listening and who do not. In Sefer Devarim Perek Yud Aleph, chapter 11 of Deuteronomy, if you will follow my commandments and my instruction, etc., then the rains will fall in their proper season and things will go well. And economically, and the implication also is politically. In other words, you will be independent, sovereign, strong and powerful. You will not be disturbed by enemies. But if you do not do so, then the opposite will happen. This is what we say, as I say, in Kriyat Shema. It's what we find in the Torah on a number of occasions, in the Tochacha, when the Torah says these very same things, but at greater length. And as the Ramban points out, everything about our hanhara, our hashgacha, in other words, the way we, the Jewish people, function in the world, and what happens to the Jewish people in this world, is on a completely different order of magnitude and qualitatively different from the way any other nation on this earth survives, lives, and the outcomes that it can expect. Everything is completely run completely differently when it comes to the Jewish people. Even the weather, even the rainfall, as we just read, is a function of our relationship with Hashem. In other words, our spiritual, our ruhani life impacts everything else around us, even the most mundane things, and even the most those things you would assume are totally beyond human control, or can be in any way related to what we do as human beings. When it comes to the Jewish people, that's not the case. The Ramban refers to this in his Perush on the Torah as a nes nistar. This is miraculous. It's not the way of the world. When you study meteorology, they do not teach you that the weather patterns depend on what people do or do not do. But the Torah tells us that when it comes to Am Yisrael, it does depend exactly on that. And the most fundamental lesson that we must always bear in mind is that we can not and must not take anything for granted, and nothing is less correct, and nothing could be more completely wrong than assuming or adopting that the Israeli approach and an answer to all things, which is Yever said things will be okay. They won't be okay. There's no reason to think that for one moment, unless, of course, we are okay, unless we do what we are supposed to do. And seeing that Am Yisrael did not behave as it was supposed to in the past, we found ourselves in Galuth, in exile. Again, this is nothing new. The Torah, the Tanakh, the Nevi'im are chock full of such statements.